Welcome to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/Animal Stories for Kids. And now, it's time for our story. Once upon a time, there was a basilisk lizard named Jesus. Jesus the basilisk lizard lived in the rainforests of Central America, where rivers split the jungle into bright little green islands, and where the air hung thick with mist, and where unique animals are found everywhere. Jesus the basilisk lizard wasn't the largest lizard, nor the strongest, but he had a gift that made the jungle whisper. When he ran, really ran, his tiny feet slapped the surface of the river without sinking. Across the water he went, his green crest fluttering like a little sail. The monkeys would chatter, the frogs would croak, and even the butterflies seemed to pause mid-flight just to watch him go. Jesus, however, didn't think much of it. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He just liked running. It made him feel light and alive, like the whole forest was running with him. When he wasn't zipping over water, Jesus the basilisk lizard spent his days basking on warm branches, nibbling insects, or lounging on rocks near the riverbank. Basilisk lizards love warmth because they're cold-blooded, and Jesus was happiest when the sun was shining on his scales. But one morning, something felt wrong. The air was heavy, not because of the fog, and the river that usually sparkled beneath his branch looked dull and brown. It barely moved. The frogs were silent. The fish were gone. Jesus tilted his head. The river was the heartbeat of the forest. Without it, everything would grow quiet. Even the small islands that were formed by the river started to disappear, and he could see more land. He climbed down to the edge of the now smaller river, and he sniffed the muddy air and decided to follow the river upstream to find out what had gone wrong. The journey took him through thick vines and under low branches. He darted between roots, leapt over puddles, and sometimes even dashed across smaller streams, his feet pattering lightly over the surface. It was hard work for such a small lizard, but Jesus the basilisk lizard didn't stop. He followed the sound, or rather, the silence of the missing water, until he found the problem. At a sharp bend in the river, a landslide had tumbled down from the hill. Rocks, branches, sticks, and mud had piled up, blocking the flow of the water completely. Behind it, the water sat trapped and still. Jesus blinked. He was small, and the pile was enormous. He sighed, his tail drooping. What could I even do? He asked himself. Then he looked at the smallest branch sticking out of the mud. It wiggled a little in the current of water. Jesus thought for a moment. Maybe I'll start there, he said to himself. So he ran up to the pile where the stick was moving by the current, and he started to tug at the twig with his teeth. It didn't move. So he tried again, pulling with all his strength. Then the twig came loose, and a tiny stream of water trickled through. Jesus the basilisk lizard jumped back, startled. Then he grinned, saying to himself, "Well, that's something." Day after day, he returned to the pile. He scraped away leaves with his claws. He nudged at the little pebbles that he could find. He pulled out roots and twigs one at a time. It wasn't much, but each little effort made a difference. The trickle grew wider. The mud started to soften, and soon, the sound of running water whispered again through the trees. The other animals began to notice. Frogs hopped closer. Birds swooped overhead. A monkey even tossed down a stick. Though Jesus the Basilisk Lizard wasn't sure if it was to help him or just because monkeys liked throwing things. Still, Jesus kept working, steady and cheerful, his little toes gripping the muddy slope every time he went back. One sunny afternoon, as Jesus the Basilisk Lizard tugged at a stubborn root, the pile suddenly gave way with a deep, gurgling whoosh. The river started rushing forward, foaming and laughing as it tumbled past him. Jesus leapt back, water splashing his face. For a moment, he thought he might be swept away, but his instinct took over. He ran right across the surface of the water. His feet danced over the rippling water as the freed river roared beneath him. Sunlight flashed across the waves, and water droplets sparkled the air like stars. He didn't run to escape this time. He ran because it felt right, because the river was alive again, and the whole forest seemed to sing with it. When he reached the far bank, he stopped and looked back. The river flowed clear and strong, weaving its way through the trees. The jungle shimmered with life again. That evening, the jungle glowed in the soft light of the sunset. The frogs sang, the leaves whispered, and the river moved smooth and clear again. Jesus perched on a low branch, his tail hanging lazily in the air. He wasn't thinking about being a hero. He was just happy the forest was back to being itself. He gave a slow nod, as if saying goodnight to it all, and he let the calm of the jungle carry him to sleep. And the Basilisk Lizard lived happily ever after. The end. The Basilisk Lizard, or otherwise known as the basilisk or the Jesus Christ lizard, is a species of lizard in the family Corytophoниdae. The word basilisk comes from Greek basiliskos, meaning little king, and they are named basilisk lizard because of their crest on their head that looks like a crown. And they can be found in Central America and South America, especially in rainforests and tropical forests near rivers and streams. Basilisk lizards like to live in places where there's water nearby because they use the water to escape predators and to move around. Basilisk lizards tend to spend time in trees or overhanging branches above water when they're not on the ground. At night, they may sleep up high in branches to stay safe from ground predators. Basilisk lizards have long tails, which help them balance, and for many species of basilisks, their tail makes up most of their total length. Basilisk lizards have hind feet with fringes or flaps of skin along their toes. These fringes unfold in water to help them run on the surface of the water. When they run on water, they move on just their hind legs and they are standing upright. Younger basilisks can run farther on water than adults because they're lighter. Once they lose momentum or run out of speed, they sink and then swim underwater. Basilisk lizards are strong swimmers and can stay underwater for a long time. Some say they can stay underwater up to 30 minutes. Basilisk lizards are also called the Jesus Christ lizard because they can move on the water, just like Jesus Christ in the Bible walked on water. Basilisk lizards are omnivores. They eat insects, small animals, and sometimes fruit or plants. Basilisk lizards hide well, and they climb and use camouflage and do whatever it takes to stay away from their predators. Basilisk lizards can live from 7 to 10 years. Have you seen a real-life basilisk lizard before? If you have, where did you see it? If you want to write to us, ask your parent to email us at animalstoriesforkids@gmail.com and tell us what you think of our stories. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/animalstoriesforkids. Until next time, bye!